Hello, everyone, and thank you for coming to today's Play Attention webinar. Today is a really important webinar because these are ideas that we'll discuss today to enhance your Play Attention program in 2026. So exciting to be with our clients, our Play Attention family, to make a new plan. As always, we are recording this event, so you will be able to review the recording tomorrow. We'll send you the replay link so that you can share this with any other family members who may not have been able to attend today. And also, I do have the chat box available, so at any time, please do chat. I would like this session to be very interactive. It's great to hear from all of you. Your experiences and your comments and questions really do enhance everyone's experience here today. So again, today we are going to be talking about 2026. What is our plan for Play Attention? Now, some of you here today may have been using Play Attention for many years, or some of you may have just enrolled in Play Attention. So I think it's important to take some time to create our goals, talk about some things that you may have discussed in the past, but maybe you haven't really thought about your specific goals and your game plan for a while. And maybe you haven't really taken some time to reflect on what went well and what you need to improve. So I really do hope that this session will kind of launch that discussion and that thought process for you so that we can have a great 2026. So let's start with the most important thing here. Before we make a plan, we have to reflect on how 2025 went. So if you would, take some time now to reflect. How did your Play Attention program go this year for you? And I have some questions, and you can answer them by just typing in the chat box and just reflect with us so I can share some of your experiences, some of the successes you experienced this year, what went well, big or small. We don't have to always look at huge achievements. They can be very small things. What positive changes did you notice in everyday life? So go ahead and use that chat box to just express what you experienced this past year. I'll give you an example while you're typing in your responses. I was speaking with one of our families a couple of weeks ago, and the mom is enrolled in Play Attention, so she has her own profile. And then she has a 15-year-old son who's also enrolled in the Play Attention program. So they're both going through the program together, which I know many of you here are going through the program as a family, which is fantastic. That shared experience is so important. And of course, they had different goals that they were working towards. But it was interesting when I spoke with her, she said, well, the year wasn't perfect. And that's okay, right? We're not striving for perfection. We're doing the best we can. She said, we missed some sessions. We went on vacation. And sometimes when we came back, we weren't able to really get back into our routine the way I would hope we would. So we had a few times where we weren't as consistent. So it wasn't perfect, but we did the best we can. And so that's one of the things she's working towards in the future to be a little bit more consistent in their training. But what she did notice, and these were the important things, she noticed that her son is able to come home and fall into his routine after school a little bit easier. There are not so many emotional meltdowns because oftentimes he had worked so hard during the school day that he'd come home and it would be a big emotional meltdown. And it was really hard to then transition into homework and those after school activities. So she said that his emotion regulation is much better and that he's able to finish his homework in less amount of time. So that was a big win for them. Those two things were a big win. And for herself, her goal was to not bring home so much work on the weekend, right? She would like her workday to end on Friday at 5 o'clock, right? She wants her work week to be Monday through Friday. But because of her challenges with executive function, she often had to bring a lot of work home with her on the weekend. And she said that she is now able to leave work on Friday and not do any work over the weekend because she is much more organized and much more productive. So, do they still have work to do? Do they still have goals to reach? Yes. And we're going to customize that plan in order to help them. But it's important to recognize those wins so that we can move from there. All right. Kathy says, just getting restarted. So I'm happy that I have started the onboarding training. Brenda has been fantastic. Great. Looking forward to rolling out in 2026 and would love to hear from other facilitators who are more experienced to see how they work with their clients. And Kathy, you bring up an important point. Today's session, many of the attendees here today are home clients. So these are families working at home. I'm glad you came today, but you'll want to come tomorrow as well because tomorrow's session is specifically for professionals. So we're going to talk about the professional game plan. I'm glad that you are here, but like I said, let's get you signed up for tomorrow as well so that you can attend tomorrow. Charles says, I've been playing since September. I've graduated from gold in several games. That's great. I'm able to notice when I'm losing focus in my daily life and refocus when I lost that focus. That is so important that you're able to have that recognition, right? That awareness is such a big part of the play attention process. Toby says, I am more clear about how ADHD impacts me. For example, I now see how impulsivity is impacting me. Before I started, I was not aware that I was impulsive. That is excellent. That's a big revelation, isn't it, Toby? So let's see. Mandy says that she is doing the program with herself and her two children. She's noticed that her home is not as chaotic as it used to be. Jim says that their family's morning routine is much smoother. Excellent. So you all are having these different experiences, but you're having these small wins, which are so important. So as we move into 2026 and you think about what you've achieved so far, let's next think about what are your goals for 2026. So, are your goals for 2026, if you're working with your children, is it better grades? Is it smoother mornings, like one of our family members here mentioned? Is it finishing tasks at work? Less family stress? Are you looking towards a job promotion, improved organization? Take a moment and you can type them in the chat box or you can just write them down next to you. I think when you actually have that process of thinking about your goal and writing it down, it becomes more real, right? When we actually write it down or we type it into the chat box, then we can clearly see our goals for 2026. So take some time now, and you might not get all of your goals down because you may be working with your entire family, but take some time to think about your specific goals for 2026. Excellent. Nancy says, I've started working on myself. Now, my goal for 2026 is to enroll three of my own children into the program and help them with their executive function. That's a great goal. And I'm glad to hear that you started with yourself, you worked on your own goals, and now you're transitioning and helping the rest of your family. That's a great way to do it. Excellent. Ian says, I've been struggling at work. I tend to leave jobs very easily. I'm working on my emotion regulation, and my goal is to keep a job for 8 months or more. Excellent. I think that is a great goal. And when we can improve executive function and that emotion regulation, that is going to be very easy for you to reach. But it does take time and it does take work, doesn't it? So now that you have thought about your goals, I want you to take some time to think about what exercises do you currently have in your play attention program. So if you think about your profile, what are you working on within your profile? Are you with the core five where you're working on attention, stamina, time on task, working memory, visual tracking, and short-term memory? Are those the exercises you're using? Are you ready to expand? Because if your goal is to improve, let's say, reading comprehension, then we may want to start looking at incorporating working memory. Charles says, I start college in January, so my goal is to succeed and get good grades. Excellent. That is a fantastic goal. So we may want to look, Charles, and see what you're working on in your profile to make certain that we're able to reach those goals and help support that goal. So let's think about what is currently in your profile and if you would like to expand that in any way. So when we think about the different modules that are in your course, on the left-hand side of your screen right now, those are the core. Those are considered to be the foundations of executive function. On the right-hand side, these are the masterclass modules. And you may have already turned some of these modules on in your profile, but let's think about what you may not have activated as of yet and how this may assist you in reaching your goals. So working memory, that is for everything we use every single day, right? We need working memory to hold information in order to complete a task. So if you're working with your child, oftentimes if you see that they are having to reread material, this might not be your child, this might be yourself, where you have to reread material in order to summarize what you just read. Working memory might be a really good application for you. Auditory processing, if you're noticing that you've improved in some areas, but it still seems that when people are giving you information and they're talking to you, they're giving you information verbally, you have to say, wait, let me write that down. It may be really important that we start incorporating auditory processing. Hand-eye coordination, that's more about fine motor control. Math facts, if you have a younger child who's in first grade or second grade and we're working on addition and subtraction math facts. Social skills. This is a good one to reflect on because I know many of our families don't start with social skills right away because sometimes we're waiting to see if we work on these foundational skills of executive function, if once we develop those areas, if social skills just get better naturally after we develop these other areas. But if you're still finding that you or your children are having a hard time picking up on social cues, you miss the look, you miss the shake of the head, then that will be a good one for you to start incorporating in the new year. Spatial memory, if you're constantly losing your keys or your wallet or you don't know where your cell phone is, spatial memory is a great one. And of course, mindfulness. We have a mindfulness application called Lotus that can be incorporated into your program. And we're going to talk a little bit more about mindfulness as we talk about our additional apps that are available. But remember, mindfulness is really important for anyone who has lots of internal dialogue or anxiety, or if you're struggling with rejection sensitive dysphoria or emotion regulation, I would recommend that we start incorporating our mindfulness app. Toby asks a good question. She says, one of my goals is to improve organization. Which modules would help with that? And so organization, Toby, and for others of you here, because I know that's often a goal for our clients and our family members, when we look at executive function, because when we're developing the foundational cognitive skills that you have in your profile, the end goal is to improve these mental processes within executive function. And organization is one mental process within executive function. So when you look at this wheel of executive function, none of these mental processes are one thing. And it's important. Toby obviously realizes that because she says, what modules? So she knows it's a combination of skills that she needs in order to improve executive in organization. So if we look back here and we think about which modules would be important to reach that goal. I'm going to, let's see if I can get my, it doesn't look like it's going to let me do any markings on here. So that's okay. We'll just walk through it and I'll follow up with an email also that will incorporate this. So if you think about, okay, I have to organize a project, or Charles, who here is here today, he's enrolling in university classes. He's going to have to organize materials for his project that he's going to have to submit for school. So let's think about organization, whether it's a home task or an educational task. You have to be able to sustain attention. So that's going to be foundation for everything. So we still want to continue working on attention stamina. Working memory is going to be the other really critical component because working memory is going to help you store all of the information you need to organize in order to complete that task. So working memory is going to be critical. Task completion, which is your time on task module, right? Because once we pay attention long enough to take in all of the information, we store that in our working memory, and then we want to have time on task so that when we spec out how we're going to organize our task at hand, we're able to start and complete each step in a timely manner. So when you're thinking about organizing a task in the home or at school, there are many different parts to that task, right? That you're organizing. So you want to be sure that you're able to sustain your attention on number one and then move to number two and then number three without trying to multitask and do bits and pieces of everything all at one time. We also would want to incorporate attention monitor, whether it's in your session itself or with our new add-on module, because that's going to help you execute your task and monitor your attention while you're actually doing that task. So I think that it'll be critical for organization to work on attention stamina, working memory, time on task, and the attention monitor. Those are areas that I would definitely incorporate. I would also consider mindfulness so that you're able to stay present while you're doing the organization. Okay. So those are really important. And keep in mind, as you're thinking about your specific goals, then we can take those goals in a meeting with your focus coach so that we can look at your profile and design or maybe make some modifications to your current profile to incorporate some of these other modules that you may not have turned on as of yet. So, moving from our goals, let's think about some other components within your play attention program that we definitely want to look at. Maybe you've already incorporated some of these on the checklist, and maybe you just need a little bit of work, or maybe you even haven't thought about some of these areas. So, let's go through these one by one. How many days per week will you train? Okay, you can go ahead and type in the chat box because that would be an interesting survey to see what on average is your schedule. How many days per week are you going to train? Now, keep in mind, we want to work at least an hour per week. If you're a professional client, you're probably working with your clients in 2 sessions per week for about 30-minute blocks of time. If you are a home client, you may be doing anywhere from 2 to 6. We have some people here that are saying they do 2 sessions a week. Most people are stating that they do 4 15-minute sessions. That seems to be a very popular schedule. And Charles says he trains daily. So excellent. A lot of you have different schedules, but I want you to think about your schedule. You typed in when you're working and how often you're working, but is that working for you? Is that the best schedule? Is that the maximum amount that you should train? Do you think you could add another 15-minute session into your week? Is that a possibility? So think about your sessions per week. Do you want to do more? Do you want to do less? Do you want to change the days so that you're more consistent? take some time to think about the days of the week and how often you're training. What goal or habit are you pairing play attention with? So, when we talk about consistency, we often recommend that you anchor it to something. Okay. So, one of my clients that I was working with, she was having a hard time consistently fitting in her play attention sessions. So, I said, well, there has to be something you do every single day at the same time that we could anchor play attention to. And it ended up that she, every single day, every morning, she takes her dogs outside and they do their little walk and then they come inside. So great. That is something that's already consistent in your day. Now let's anchor play attention to that. So she got into the habit of taking the dogs out and then immediately when she came in, she knew that was her play attention time. And she took it one step further, which I thought was brilliant, in that before she took the dogs out, she started up her play attention program. She logged in, she took the dogs for the walk, came back in, and everything was ready for her so she could start her play attention program right away. So if you are having a little bit of difficulty being consistent and you are finding that you're saying, well, I'll just get my 3 sessions of play attention in at some point this week. Make sure that you start making that more consistent and anchoring it with something is always really helpful. Also, if you're doing two 30-minute sessions, would it be easier for you to do shorter sessions? Or would you even like to look at doing longer sessions? What would be best for you? We talked about this a little bit earlier. Are there modules you haven't explored yet? So keep in mind too, if you have upgraded your play attention software and you're running the latest version, you'll notice that when you log in for your session, there's a little trial version. And if you see trial version, that is going to allow you to play one of the modules that you have not activated for about 2 to 3 minutes so that you can see if that's something you would like to incorporate into your plan. So if you've wondered about that trial, you haven't tried one of those yet, it's a great way to explore other modules and assess if that module will help you reach your goal. Now, also, we want to look at your reward system. Have you set up your rewards system? Is it effective? If it's not effective, how can we help you make certain that you have a really effective reward system? And remember, rewards aren't just for children. They are great for adults as well. It's great to have some type of reward, and it can be something that you purchase, but it doesn't have to be. It can just be special time for you or for your child. It can be that your child gets to choose his favorite meal on Friday night. It can be more time at the park. You might get a little bit of time just for yourself on Saturday. So think about what reward system would work best for you and how we can help you tweak. Do you have short-term goals and long-term goals? And by that, I mean rewards, short-term rewards and long-term rewards. It's important to have both so you can have that instant gratification, but we're also teaching delayed gratification. So think about your reward system. It's all held within play attention. If you haven't set that up yet, that's something we should look at with your focus coach. Are you taking time at the end of your session for reflection? Every good session, every good learning situation ends with reflection. So remember, when you log out, don't just click that X and leave for the day. Go to the down arrow next to your name, click close session and log out. And when you get, or just log out, and when you get to the next screen, that is going to be your time to reflect what I did well, what I'm proud of. Take some time to be really specific, not just, I showed up today. Be really specific in what you learned or what you're proud of. Because the more specific you are, that information is going to help you then take what you're learning and apply it back into the classroom, back into the workplace, or in the home situation. If you have a younger child who's having difficulty with reflection, model it. I noticed that when your sister walked into the room, you were able to keep that character at the bottom of the ocean and you didn't get distracted by her. You usually get really distracted. That was great. So make certain that you're taking time to model reflection. You'll be absolutely amazed after you model that process for a month or two that they will begin that metacognition, thinking about their own thinking. All right, now for some fun. Let's explore some new apps that will enhance your play attention program. You may have already incorporated some of these, and some of them you may not have incorporated as of yet. So I do want to take some time to talk about our additional apps. Now, these specific apps will not be in your play attention dashboard. These are apps that you will download and they will be on your desktop and you will use them just as enhancements. So Lotus Advanced and DaVinci's Candle and DaVinci's Candle Expanded Awareness, these are all modules that will work on mindfulness. So if you would like a little bit more work in the area of mindfulness, these are amazing and fantastic. And I'm going to show you a demonstration of all three of them so you can get an idea of how you'd like to incorporate these into your week. It won't be something that you will necessarily do during your regular play attention session. These can be modules you use outside of your regular play attention time. And remember, mindfulness is so important because mindfulness helps us stay in the present moment. It helps with stress and anxiety. And when you can reduce stress and anxiety, that of course is going to support cognitive health, cognitive control, and executive function. And we hear so much about how mindfulness helps with the symptoms of anxiety and ADHD, and that's true. However, we can't look at someone with ADHD or anxiety and say, now I want you to practice mindfulness, right? Because mindfulness is hard. It's hard for all of us, but especially if you have that running mind. So the powerful thing about our mindful applications where you're wearing your body wave armband and we're monitoring your mindful state is that you get real time feedback. So we're not just saying, Toby, I want you to practice mindfulness and distractions are going to happen and that's okay. Just accept them and let them go because that's easier said than done, right? You may do 10 minutes of mindfulness and then at the end of that 10 minutes realize that you just spent 10 minutes writing your grocery list, right? The distractions happened and you didn't recognize them and let them go. You went down that rabbit hole and you were completely distracted during a time when you were trying to be mindful. So we give you a visual representation within Lotus Advanced and Da Vinci's Candle of what it means to stay in the present moment. And then I'm going to explain Da Vinci's Candle Expanded Awareness to you because this is where we provide you with an experience. Because remember, mindfulness isn't always you're in a room and you're quiet and you have a single locus of attention or mindfulness, right? It's that you could go for a mindful walk and you could be mindful about what you see, what you hear, what you feel. That's an experience. Life is an experience, and you can be mindful within that experience. So, we're going to expand your awareness and provide you with an experience where you're mindful of that entire experience. And there's actually a quiz at the end to see if you are mindful of that experience. And then we also have Attention Monitor. This was just released within the last couple of last couple of weeks. And it's so exciting because it's almost like we took the Pomodoro timer and enhanced that. Because how many of you here, you can raise your hand or you can use the chat box. Have you done the Pomodoro timer where you set a timer for 10 minutes and you're going to work that 10-minute block of time? And you might, yep, many of you are saying you've tried it before. And a lot of times, if you're distracted, if you're not mindful, that 10 minutes just ends up being 10 minutes of distraction. but I'm going to show you how we're going to set a timer and monitor your attention while you're doing your actual work. So let's go ahead. I'm going to share my screen here and I'm going to change over to a video. Okay. And in a moment, you're going to see this video that's going to actually show you all of these apps. You'll notice that in Lotus Advanced, you have a bronze, silver, and gold medal. So it actually does get a little bit more challenging, just like your regular play attention modules within your profile. Once you are in the present moment, that petal starts opening on the lotus flower. If you are no longer in the mindful state, if you're thinking, when's my next appointment? Who do I have to call? What is my homework that's due tomorrow morning? If you're working with your child, that petal will start to close and you have to bring yourself back. Now you'll notice this is a little bit advanced. This is our advanced version where there's koi in the pond and you have to stay present. Don't let those koi get you off track. Stay present and mindful as you watch that lotus flower open. When you are in that mindful state, when you're not in that mindful state, you'll immediately be alerted. Da Vinci's candle is really very similar. We have a bronze, silver, and gold medal option. And when you enter, this time instead of opening the petal, you're in Da Vinci's lab. So you can see that we're entering Da Vinci's lab. And once we get to the desk, I'm going to be able to increase the flame by my mindfulness. And if I'm not mindful, then the flame will become dim. Now, this is expanded awareness. And this is where still you're going to be mindful of that candle. Once you're mindful, then it glows a bright glow. If you're not mindful, it will start to get very dim. So you have that real time feedback. But you also need to be mindful of your entire experience. You need to know how many mice are coming across the table, the scrolls that are on the table, the books, what's on the canvas, what's hanging from the ceiling. You have to take in the entire experience because remember, life is an experience and we want you to be mindful of that. So once you have your experience, there's a quiz and you have to answer the quiz questions. How many times did you see the mouse run across the desk? And you'll answer that. Then you also have another question here, and it will ask, what was here? What's missing? What was on that desk? It was the candle. Now, here, so you see, I just want to go back to that expanded awareness where we're taking that mindfulness a step further and providing you with that experience. And then you get that to quiz yourself on how well you were engaged in that experience. Now, the next exercise or app I'm going to share with you is Attention Monitor. Now, again, this is going to be held outside of your regular Play Attention program. It's going to be an app on your desktop. Notice here that on the right-hand side of your screen, you have Attention Monitor in display. On the left-hand side of the screen, you have your actual Word document. So this is going to be great for those of you who are working, you have office work to do, or you have university work or homework to do. Notice how we're typing, and as long as we are very attentive to our typing, then we're getting that green brain. We're getting that feedback that we are in our peak attentive state. If I'm not as attentive while I'm doing my academic work or my office work, and right now we're just giving that example of typing, then it will become red. So you're able to do all of your work in a split screen while getting that real-time feedback regarding your attention. So this is going to, again, help you transfer and generalize what you're learning into your actual work tasks. Now I'm going to go back to our slides here. And please do keep your questions coming. If any of you have questions about those mindfulness apps or attention monitor, please do go ahead and type in your questions. But they are amazing applications that will help you, again, enhance your play attention experience. And if you're looking to have a way to monitor your attention while you're doing computer related work tasks, Attention Monitor is a great way to do that. All right, so you're getting that real time feedback. So, how can you incorporate these into your play attention plan? Some of our play attention family members will use the mindfulness applications in the middle of the day because it gives them that little reset. So they have it where they've anchored it to their lunchtime. So they have their lunch and then they do about 10 minutes of their Lotus Advanced or their Da Vinci's Candle Expanded Awareness. They just work that into their day. Also, many of our families incorporate the mindfulness applications into their sleep hygiene routine. So remember, sleep hygiene is very important. You'll probably start your sleep routine about an hour to an hour and a half before you transition to bed. And so using the mindfulness applications are a great way to settle that mind and be very calm and reduce stress before you go to sleep. So that's just a couple of ideas on how to incorporate that. With the attention monitor, I recommend that for any, we said computer work, but you can be doing any other type of work. You could be writing a report in your planner, you could be reading, could be any activity on the computer or not on the computer. It's also a great way to keep yourself attentive during Zoom meetings. I have some of our family members who will actually play attention family members, that is, who will have attention monitor running on one side of the screen and their Zoom meeting on the other. And that way they're able to monitor their attention while actually in the meeting, which is really important so that you catch yourself and you're able to regain that attention so you don't lose a lot of details. And it's also great because you're going to be able to keep track of your results, your data, so you can see how you're progressing over time. All right. Keep your questions coming or your comments, and we'll have a Q&A at the end as well. Now, we've had a lot of questions about silver mines, and that's what we're going to talk about next. So if you are a senior here today, and we are considering seniors 50 plus, and you're interested in taking your training to the next level, then play attention. Silver Mines is a great way to take that next step. So, if you are thinking about your cognitive health as you age, and you are obviously, you've already taken the first step because you're engaged in the play attention program, but you want to make certain that you're doing everything possible to stay mentally sharp as you age, it's important to keep in mind that cognitive decline is not inevitable. And we've developed Silver Minds to make certain that we can stay mentally sharp or prevent or delay cognitive decline as we age. Also, if you would like to have more of a community working with you and supporting you in this process, that's what Silver Minds is all about. So, of course, you've already taken that initial step and you've invested in your brain by using play attention. But now we can incorporate the Silver Minds course. And we bring in the 6 pillars. These are all research-based elements that we know are critical to cognitive health as we age. So we will do assessments in the beginning so that we can customize your plan. You're already doing your core training with play attention. But within the Silver Minds course, we're going to incorporate socialization. So you're going to have group meetings. We're going to have movement because we know exercise is a critical component as we age. We're going to incorporate mindfulness and also education mini sessions. So those components are all going to be part of the Silver Minds course. And we are kicking off our virtual course in January. So enrollment for the Silver Minds virtual course will end January 14th, and the live sessions will begin the week of January 19th. There is early bird pricing available for Play Attention clients through December 31st, and that will include your free assessment session. So let's look at what the Silver Minds course will include. You'll have 2 live small group sessions per week. So those small group sessions will be online. We'll do the gallery view so you actually can see each other, you can chat. It'll be a way that we can develop community within our sessions. And during those hour-long sessions, we're going to do our check-ins with each other to strengthen that community. It's a great time to talk about your goals and how you're progressing. We'll incorporate movement that you can do at home because we know that it's critical that you incorporate movement throughout your day. We're going to have mindfulness exercises that you can incorporate not just during those sessions, but that you can take home. And we're going to have weekly topics on cognitive health and how to age well. And so those continuing education topics are really important as well. Then outside of those weekly sessions, you're going to have email follow-ups with exclusive videos and printable exercises and the flexible format because you're going to be able to join from the comfort of your own home. So Toby has a good question. She says, is the $25 charge for the mini education sessions as well? So to clarify, the session incorporates all of those components. So the sessions incorporate mindfulness, movement, socialization, and your education mini topic. So all of those elements for healthy aging and cognitive awareness and cognitive health are incorporated into each weekly session. And remember, you'll be doing 2 live sessions per week. Okay? I hope that clarified. Thanks for that question. All right, so let's talk about next steps. We've covered a lot of information. That the Silver Minds course is for 6 months, 6 months of work. Okay, so that is that initial Silver Minds is going to be 6 months. Okay. Sorry about that. I thought I had that in my slides. Very good question. So that is going to be a 6-month course where you're doing 2 sessions per week. All right, so let's talk about your next steps. If you feel like you would like a meeting with your focus coach, go ahead and type in focus coach, and I'll make certain that your focus coach reaches out to you with their calendar. Because remember, we talked about a lot that I want you to think about your new modules you may want to incorporate into your profile. Perhaps you want to incorporate some other family members into your program. Maybe you want to look deeper at some of those apps. So if you would like your focus coach to reach out to you to help you develop and refine your 2026 plan, just type in focus coach and we'll make certain that person reaches out to you. If you're ready to go ahead and add the exercises or any of the new apps, you can go ahead and type in apps in the chat box, and we'll make certain to guide you and let you know how to purchase those in the eShop. Okay. We are running a promotion now through the end of the month, and you'll receive 20% off your Play Attention modules and your add-on apps. You get to the eShop by going to shop.playattention.com, but I'll make certain to reach out to you in the email follow-up with the recording, and that will have the link to the eShop along with your promo code. Also, if you would like to learn a little bit more about Silver Minds and that entire process and how you can become involved in our virtual program, that's again going to start in January and run for 6 months. That will be our our Silver Minds 101 course, go ahead and type in Silver Minds. And again, we'll reach out to you so that we can schedule a time to chat a little bit further and get you started in the Silver Minds family as well. It's a really exciting program. And I think that if you've already taken that first step and you've worked on play attention, this is the next step in your journey where we can, again, take in all the elements we know about what's important for cognitive health as we age, and we can start incorporating that. Okay, excellent. So go ahead and if you have any other comments or questions, go ahead and type them in the chat box. Again, type in Focus Coach, apps, or Silver Minds, or all of the above. I think that you have a lot to think about. So even after this session, you may come up with some more questions or some more goals. You know how to reach us, so feel free to reach out. Just reply to the email that you'll receive as a follow-up, or just contact your personal focus coach. And we look forward to speaking with you and helping you make certain that 2026 is a successful one. Thanks so much, everyone. I'm going to keep the chat box up for a little while so that you can type in your next steps or your remaining questions. And again, feel free to reach out anytime. Thanks for your time and your attention. Take care.